And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live right here on We're on at the intersection of business and politics. I think I went tongue-tied. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, we got a great show for you today. On today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails. We do that every day, Monday through Friday. And then on today's special segments, well, you know what? I'm going to present many tax tips that are for the season here today. You'll be appreciating the things that we're going to discuss. And our own Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless, will be here. He'll be talking about new wireless technology that's in the news. Nobody more knowledgeable than Joel is. But first off, I want you to stand by for news. And I want you to know that at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, it is currently 70 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what? Let's get into the news. Let's talk about the encapsulated part of the news so that I can give you a brief overview of everything that's going on, and then we'll get a little more in-depth. First off, the 10 things that you need to know for today, Wednesday, your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that are going to be talked about all day today and perhaps tomorrow too. First up, members of the armed Oregon group are arrested. The arrests of Aman Bunde, 40 years old, and 5 other members of the group occupying a national wildlife refuge follow a traffic stop and gunfire that leaves 1 person dead, authorities say. You know what? Later on, we'll talk about that. You'll be surprised who actually bought the farm there. And next up is who's got troubling sense of deja vu. Given Bernie Sanders' surge, Hillary Clinton's middle-aged female fans are trying to understand how her once decisive lead in Iowa could be at risk once again, 8 years after she was toppled by Obama. And Brazil ramps up a battle against Zika virus. We talked about this yesterday. The country's health minister says Brazil is sending some 220,000 troops to battle the mosquito blamed for spreading the virus. And affluenza teen no longer fighting deportation. Ethan Couch will return to Texas to face charges against him in the coming days, his Mexican lawyer says. And which message Pope is sending to Tehran? The pontiff, holding talks with Iran's president at the Vatican, says Tehran must join the fight against terrorism. And analysts say Iraq's military is still struggling. The battle to retake Ramadi, through those successful, highlighted the troops' lingering shortcomings, experts say, and how the United States government would expand depression screening. Well, you know what? All adults, including pregnant women and new mothers, should be tested for depression as a routine part of health care, an advisory group recommends. And next advance in automatic tellers, J.P. Morgan Chase is rolling out a new class of ATMs where customers will need only their phones to withdraw cash. This is getting a little scary, isn't it? And how about this? Abe Vigoda dies at age 94. The actor played the over-the-hill detective Phil Fish in the 1970 TV series Barney Miller, in the doomed mafia soldier in The Godfather. And finally, Peyton Manning hints at retirement. The quarterback is caught by NFL Network cameras saying that the Super Bowl might be my last rodeo. Well, you know what? Everybody's got to pick their time, right? And that includes him. Well, you know what? Let's get to a little more in-depth news going on. Looks like Cruz looks to shore up support among Iowa's evangelicals. In Iowa, the evangelical vote can make or break a campaign, which is why both Texas Senator Ted Cruz and Donald Trump are battling over support from the most conservative voters as the race heats up ahead of the state's leadoff caucus. Cruz planned to court social conservatives and evangelical voters at a Wednesday night rally, addressing his anti-abortion beliefs while highlighting Trump's record of flip-flopping on the issue. Cruz was to be joined at the rally outside of Des Moines by his father, Rafael Cruz, a pastor who travels the country campaigning for his son, and former Texas Governor Rick Perry, who framed his two failed framed his two failed presidential bids on an effort to assert more conservative values. Winning evangelical voters who catapulted underdog candidates to the lead in Iowa in 2008 and 2012 is essential for Cruz to do well when Iowans vote on Monday. If evangelical pastors move the pews to the caucuses, then Ted Cruz wins Iowa, said David Lane, an influential activist who has organized events across Iowa where Cruz and other Republican candidates have addressed pastors. On Monday, Cruz addressed about 250 pastors in Cedar Rapids and Des Moines. He gave his own assessment of where he sees the race should Trump prevail in Iowa. If Donald wins in Iowa, he right now has a substantial lead in New Hampshire. Cruz told Iowa pastors at the closed-door meeting, a comment first reported by the Christian Broadcasting Network and confirmed by Lane. If he went on to win New Hampshire as well, there is a very good chance he could be unstoppable and be our nominee. Well, I think there's a better than good chance. I think it's probably an outcome that's going to happen. Don't you? Yeah, I do too. Well, how about this? Authorities say the last activist should leave wildlife preserve. A day after the leaders of an armed anti-government group were arrested, authorities today urged a handful of activists remaining at the Oregon Wildlife Refuge to abandon the site that they have occupied for more than 3 weeks, saying it was time to move on. Meanwhile, details began to emerge about the confrontation that occurred on a remote highway between here and the small town of John Day. Followers of Amon Bundy gave conflicting accounts of how one of the men in the two-vehicle convoy was killed during a traffic stop. One of Bundy's followers said Robert Finicum charged at FBI agents who then shot him. A member of the Bundy family said Finicum did nothing to provoke the agents. Well, you know what? We'll see how that is. I think that's the same guy, by the way, that was hiding underneath the tarp. You know, had a gun under there, but I think that's who it was. You know, basically, a rancher was killed in the standoff, and he vowed to die before going to jail. So I think that's the same guy. A member of the armed anti-government group who was killed in the traffic stop in Oregon vowed a few weeks ago that he would die before spending his life behind bars. Now, Lavoy Finicum, a 55-year-old rancher from Cane Beds, Arizona, died yesterday after law enforcement officers initiated the stop near the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge. Finicum was a leader of the armed group that took over the Southeast Oregon Refuge January the 2nd to oppose federal land restrictions and object to the prison sentences of 2 local ranchers convicted of setting fires. He and other occupiers were heading to a community meeting in the town of John Day, about 70 miles north of Burns. It's unclear what happened in the moments before his death. Authorities said shots were fired, but have declined to say how many or if Finicum or any other activists exchanged gunfire with the officers. Now, having said all that, when we come back, let's change gears here. Let's talk about the debate feud injects a fresh chaos in the GOP primary. This is getting to be really interesting. I can't wait till Friday when I discuss this with our own John Matthews and Joe Hakos. This is going to be really interesting. Don't go away. We'll be right back. I'll give you a little overview of that as soon as we return.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. Well, you know what? The debate feud injects fresh chaos in the GOP primary. An explosive feud between Donald Trump and Fox News is overshadowing the final sprint to Iowa's presidential caucuses, injecting a new sense of chaos into the 2016 Republican contest. On the eve of the final debate before Iowa voters weigh in, Trump refused to back off his decision to boycott Thursday's primetime face-off. His campaign insisted that debate host Fox News crossed a line with a sarcastic statement mocking him and continued to criticize moderator Megyn Kelly. In turn, Fox accused Trump's camp of trying to terrorize its employees. They think that they can toy with Mr. Trump, campaign manager Corey Lewandowski said today on MSNBC's Morning Joe. Mr. Trump doesn't play games. As the public clash intensified, Trump's Republican competitors hunkered down for a day of private debate preparations filled with uncertainty. Skeptical that he would follow through on his boycott, the other campaigns held practice sessions with and without someone playing Trump. Some thought the absence of Trump could make another leading Iowa contender, Texas Senator Ted Cruz, a prime target for campaigns eager to spark a last-minute shakeup. Now, Cruz challenged Trump to a separate one-on-one debate, a challenge that was dismissed by his opponent. Even though I beat him in the first 6 debates, especially the last one, Ted Cruz wants to debate me again. Can we do it in Canada? Trump tweeted, referencing Cruz's birthplace. Some foes saw the shakeup as an opening to rise above the ruckus. These kinds of theatrics by Ted Cruz and Donald Trump are an entertaining sideshow, but they have nothing to do with debating Hillary Clinton. Florida Senator Marco Rubio said, "We don't have time for these kinds of distractions." Despite the attention, there was little sense that Trump's move would significantly change the trajectory of the Republican contest in Iowa. While the former reality television star holds a big lead in most national polls, he and Cruz are locked in a tight race there in Iowa. So we'll see what happens. You know, this Cruz, no matter what you say about him, he's a smart guy. He's got his hands on the pulse of this campaign. And how about this? Obama and Sanders at the White House? Nice chat, but that's all. You know, President Barack Obama and his aides have said a lot of nice things about Bernie Sanders, but not this one. He's ready to be president. The key omission was particularly noticeable today as Obama and Sanders met for the first one-on-one since Sanders jolted the Democratic campaign and locked Hillary Clinton in an unexpectedly tight race. The long-discussed meeting between Obama and his sometime critic was a moment for the president to display his public neutrality in the heated primary race to replace him, rebutting suggestions that he's in the tank for Clinton. For Sanders, it was a chance to show he's got some sway with the president who's still popular among Democrats. By and large, over the last 7 years on major issues after major issues, I have stood by his side where he has taken on unprecedented Republican obstructionism and has tried to do the right thing for the American people, Sanders said after the meeting. But neither the White House nor Sanders is suggesting the men are kindred spirits or even close political allies. White House officials say the men lack much of a personal relationship and have markedly different approaches to politics. The president this week declared bluntly he doesn't see Sanders' upstart campaign as a reboot of his own battle against Clinton in 2008. Obama allies bristle at comparisons between Sanders and the president. Man, and it's starting big time. So get ready, folks. There's going to be a war raging. Well, France asked the European Union partners for new sanctions on Iran. France has asked its European Union partners to consider new sanctions on Iran for its recent missile tests, officials have told the Associated Press, even as Paris welcomed the president of the Islamic Republic, which is flush with funds from the lifting of other sanctions over Tehran's nuclear program. The ambiguous signals emerging today from France came as President Hassan Rouhani, a relative moderate elected in 2013, signed billions of dollars in business deals on an earlier stop in Italy and met with Pope Francis in the first such Iranian foray into Europe since 1999. France hopes for similarly lucrative deals during Rouhani's two-day visit, along with regional peacemaking efforts as the once pariah state emerges from decades of isolation. But amid the courting of Iran, two officials from the European Union nations told the Associated Press that the request for new sanctions came shortly after the EU and the U.S. lifted the sanctions on Tehran on January 16th in exchange for UN certification that Iran had scaled back its nuclear programs. Iran said those programs were peaceful, but critics feared it wanted to build nuclear weapons. Here, I guess. What you got to say with that, right? Well, a chaotic run-up to Syria peace talks reflects an enormous gap. The invitations are sent and preparations are underway at the UN's Palais des Nations in Geneva, where the first peace talks in 2 years on the conflict in Syria are to begin on Friday. But 2 days before the talks, it is unclear who will attend, or even if the UN Special Envoy to Syria will be able to move the needle on any of the thorny issues on the agenda to help end the war that has killed 250,000 people in the last 5 years. In the chaotic run-up to the talks, the warring sides and the international backers have bickered over who should be present and what should be discussed, with some threatening to boycott if their conditions are not met. Boy, and that just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Well, don't go away. When we come back, we're going to talk about the IRS loses. The first case is one where the IRS conceded. You know my position. They never concede unless they're pretty sure they can't prevail in court. Well, this is about a faulty Subchapter S election that was deemed to be effective, and I'm going to tell you about it as soon as we return from these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh, yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. Sends chills up and down my spine, sets the hair up on the back of my neck, and I hope that does you too. It's just a light spot for me. Anyway, the first case that we're going to talk about is a case where the IRS conceded, and you've heard me say it all the time, that they only concede when they're pretty sure they can't prevail in tax court, which is why they concede. In this case, it's a faulty subchapter S election, which is a corporate election that is deemed to be effective. And let me tell you about it. A corporation with a subsidiary made an S election that reported to the IRS that it owned all of the subsidiary stock, but later discovered it did not. On finding the error, it had the subsidiary redeem all the shares that it did not own, and the IRS ruling was this. The subsidiary was not a qualified subsidiary when the S election was made because it was not 100% owned, so the S election was faulty. But a faulty S election can be deemed effective when the fault was inadvertent and promptly corrected upon being discovered. That was the case here, and the corporation had in all other ways acted properly as an S corporation. So, its election is upheld. You know what? That's what the case would have happened anyway, so why spend all that extra money, right? How about this? The IRS loses. Appraisal is sufficient for gift tax purposes. Listen to this. The Hoover Corporation has operated as a private business since 1883 and has about 250 shareholders, including extended family members, charities, and universities. Now, each year, an accounting firm appraises its stock value, and the appraisal is used in various transactions involving the company's stock. But when family members use the appraisal to value gifts of shares to relatives, the IRS challenged it as being too low. So they went to court. This is what the judge said. Over the prior 6 years, there had been 90 stock sales priced at the appraisal value, even though parties were free to negotiate another price. This indicated that the appraisal was fair market value and sufficient for the valuing gifts. Shame on the IRS. Let me give you one more. The IRS loses. Here it is. Mortgage interest can be deducted as a business expense to boost tax savings. Let me tell you about it. An individual deducted interest that he paid on a home equity loan as a business expense instead of as mortgage interest. Now, this increased his tax savings because, unlike a mortgage interest deduction, the business expense reduced adjusted gross income and so increased other deductions with AGI-related limits. And business expenses are not subject to the general reduction of itemized deductions by 3% of the amount by which AGI exceeds $150,500. Now, the IRS disallowed the business deduction. But here's what the judge said. The home loan proceeds were traced to a genuine business use, so the deduction is absolutely proper. And that's what you would expect. Now, you hear me all the time talking about wanting to be a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. Because, even though it's not a tax court decision, these are precedents that are actually recorded that you can use to your benefit if all the circumstances work for you. And that's what we're calling this segment that we call Inside the IRS. It's sort of like the Twilight Zone. Oh, yeah. Now, you're going to find this interesting. At least I always do. Did you know that there's a remedy for collection actions? Yeah. The IRS has a procedure that allows a taxpayer to contest a number of matters relating to the actions of the collection division. So let me give you some examples. How about failure to grant the taxpayer an installment agreement or not accepting an offer in compromise and enforcing a levy? To contest collection actions, file Form 12153. That's a request for a collection due process hearing or the equivalent. Now, to have the IRS Appeals Office hear your side of the story, you need to file that form. If you're not satisfied at the Appeals Office, you can petition the United States Tax Court for reconsideration. But there's a trap here. The tax court has no jurisdiction to consider your case unless you can prove that you have raised the issue that you want the court to rule on during your collection due process hearing. So here's a strategy for you. Always, always, always document by sending a letter to the IRS that you asked the appeals office to consider the issues that you raised. Now, you got it in writing. That's all you need. How about this? The Freedom of Information Act permits you to ask the IRS. This is a big deal. I touched on this yesterday, and I want to touch on it again today because I can't tell you how important it is. If you're fighting the IRS and they're gathering information, this Freedom of Information Act, what they call FOIA, can be your lifesaver. The IRS is required by federal law to give you the things you need. Here's how it works. You can ask the IRS for copies of all documents in its possession relating to your audit examination or collection proceeding. The request is made by addressing a letter to the local disclosure officer of the IRS and identifying the documents that you want. Now, a request should be made for all documents in your possession relating to a specific matter. Here's the problem, though. Sometimes disclosure office caseworkers are going to tell you that the documents that you've requested are just not available, or even though they really are. The best approach is to talk to a manager and ask the manager to review the case because it appears that information you asked for has been omitted, and just push it. That's what you want to do. You want to push it. That's where you're going to be. Now, do not go away, because boy, I've got a whole section that I'm going to go over with you, and I've been promising it to you. And this is loopholes that are available for you, tax loopholes, and things that you can use now for last year, and things that you can use to plan for next year. So don't go away. When we come back, I'm going to talk to you about all these loopholes. We'll be right back, folks.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 70 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 45 degrees. But you know, if you're listening to us in New York City, it's 6:34 p.m. and it's 41 degrees and clear. You know what? My granddaughter, Riley Logan, took a red eye out there. She goes to NYU, and she got there about an hour and a half before her first class started today. She got caught up in those cancellations that took place because of the snowstorms that took place in the Midwest and the East, and hopefully she's arrived there safely. I'm sure she has. But you know what? We've got some exciting things for you. We're going to talk about tax tips and tax loopholes and things, and I've got a number of the greatest tax loopholes of all time for you. So let's get right to it. You know, with these great tax-saving ideas, almost everyone can save money. Now, here are some of the best loopholes that I've discovered in over more than 40 years of working with taxes myself. Here's the thing. The first loophole is convert a regular taxable IRA, an individual retirement account, to a non-taxable Roth IRA in a year in which you have business losses and very little income. The advantage here? You can use the business losses to offset taxable income created by converting a traditional IRA. The money in the Roth IRA and its income will then become tax-free unless withdrawn prematurely. So prematurely means, first of all, it's got to be in there at least 5 years, or you're not allowed to take it out before you reach the age of 59 and a half. So keep that in mind. Here's another loophole for you. Donate appreciated long-term stock instead of cash to your favorite charities. You know, when you do this, you can deduct the full fair market value of the shares and owe no capital gains tax on the stock's buildup in value since you bought it. Here's an example of how this works. Let's just say you own 100 shares of stock, purchased 10 years ago for $15 a share. When you donate the shares, now worth $50 a share each, to charity, you deduct the full $5,000 fair market value, not your $1,500 cost. You also avoid paying capital gains tax on that $3,500 of appreciation in those shares. That's a good deal if you're thinking about it. I mean, a really good deal. How about this? Here's a loophole for you. Shelter business or freelance income with tax-deferred retirement plans. You know, you can shelter income, whether from a full or part-time job, in a retirement plan. For example, self-employed workers, including full-time workers who run sideline businesses, can contribute up to 20% of net business income to a KEO and simplified employee pension. It's a SEP plan, up to $45,000 a year. Corporate employees can contribute up to 25%. Here's a strategy for you. Business owners and self-employed workers who are older than 45 should consider setting up a defined benefit plan that permits larger contributions than those available in defined contribution plans. But you got to be careful. Defined benefit plans can be more expensive and less flexible than defined contribution plans. So talk to your tax advisor about the pros and cons. Now, there is a double benefit, though. Maximize your overall contributions by setting up a 401k plan as well. The maximum deduction for a 401k plan is $15,500, $20,500 if you're 50 years old or older, and no percentage limitations apply to the contributions. So let me give you an example. Let's just say you work full-time for a company but operate a sideline business. If you earn $22,000 from the business, you can contribute nearly all of it, $21,000, to retirement plans. You can put away $15,500 in a 401k plan, assuming you do not contribute to the company 401k plan, and $5,500 more in another defined contribution plan. That's 25% of the $22,000. So, here's the strategy. That's just phenomenal. How about this? Avoid paying alternative minimum tax by exercising some of your incentive stock options. They call them ISOs each year instead of waiting until just before the expiration date to exercise all of them. Here's the thing. When you exercise ISOs, the difference between the fair market value of the stock and the exercise price is the tax preference item included in the AMT calculation of the stock, and it's not sold in the year it's acquired. The result? You may owe AMT for the year because of exercising the ISO. So a strategy? If you want to hold the stock that and you can avoid the AMT by exercising small amounts of ISOs each year, just below the amount that would require you to pay the AMT. Just think about it. It's just using your noodle and your tax expert. You want to do that too, I promise you. How about this loophole? Replace personal debt with a home equity loan to maximize deductible interest payments. You know, interest paid on automobile loans, credit card charges, and other personal debt is not deductible, but interest paid on home equity loans is deductible on loan amounts of $100,000 or less. You can use the proceeds from a home equity loan for any purpose, such as paying off personal loans, and still deduct the interest, as long as you're not subject to the alternative minimum tax. So give that some thought. That could be a big deal for you. How about this? Matter of fact, depending on what tax bracket you're in, it's like getting the minimum of a 15% discount, because that's what the government's going to give you at that smallest rate, or maybe a 39% discount on the other side of it. So that's a big deal. How about this loophole, guys? Use your IRA or 401k or pension plan money to buy rental real estate. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? If you think about it, how do you do it? The property must be purchased directly by your retirement account, not in partnership with the plan participant. The plan can borrow funds using the real estate and other plan assets as collateral, but then some of the real estate income will be taxed outside the plan. So you got to be careful. By law, you cannot manage the property yourself. You must hire a property manager to collect the rents and pay the mortgage, real estate taxes, and utility bills and that kind of stuff. But the benefits? Profits remain in the plan tax deferred. Any gains from the sale of that property are deferred until you begin taking distributions from the plan. However, those gains, like all plan distributions, are taxed at ordinary income rates and not capital gains rates. So keep that in mind. Well, you know what? Let me give you another loophole. Operate your business as a cash basis S corporation. What's that mean? You know what? In general, C corporations, except personal service corporations, with average annual sales for 3 years of more than $5 million cannot use cash accounting. Instead, they must use accrual method of accounting, paying tax on money not yet received. This rule does not apply to S corporations that have inventory. So the advantage? You defer paying tax until income is received, not when it's booked as accounts receivable. And boy, I want to tell you, that is a big, big deal. You know, let's talk a little bit about some beneficiary loopholes, and I won't get through them all here, but we'll take a break and then I'll pick up on it again. You know, as a general rule, beneficiaries of trusts and estates have the right to receive income and other payments, but have no control over the management or distribution of the money or when it is taxed. But there are techniques for getting around these limitations. And you know what? Let's talk about them a little bit. Let's talk about trust loopholes. You know, if you provide current income to your beneficiaries with a grantor trust, also called an intentionally defective trust. These trusts are set up under sections 671 through 679 of the tax code. The grantor who sets up the trust is considered the owner of the asset solely for income tax purposes, and the trust income is taxed on the grantor's tax return. For estate tax purposes, these trusts remove assets from the grantor's taxable estate and can provide current income to the trust beneficiaries. Tax paid by the grantor on trust income creates a tax-free gift from the grantor to the trust beneficiaries in the amount of the income tax paid. So give that some thought. There's a note, though. Transfers of assets to a grantor trust create a taxable gift, so subject to annual gift tax exclusions and lifetime exemptions. But you know what? A good tax person is going to help you get through that. They're going to show you how to make this work for them, and I guarantee you're going to love this. It's just going to love it. How about this? How about an irrevocable life insurance trust that avoids estate tax on insurance proceeds and provide income to the beneficiaries? Let me tell you about it. These trusts typically are funded only with an insurance policy on your life, so they provide no cash flow until your death. At that point, the death benefit can be fully distributed to the beneficiaries or retained in the trust with any future income distributed. The typical arrangement, income is distributed to the surviving spouse and after that to the grantor's children when they attain certain ages. Now, assets remaining after these income beneficiaries die or upon some other event, such as the children reaching a specified age, are distributed according to the terms established in the trust. The insurance benefits are received free of estate tax. That, my friends, is a big deal. You know, talk to your tax planner about this. This is fantastic stuff. Now, don't go away. When we come back, I'm going to give you some more beneficiary loopholes. I'm going to talk to you about providing for your surviving spouse with a qualified terminable interest trust. They call it a Q-tip trust. I'll explain that to you right after these brief messages. So please don't go away. We'll be right back, folks.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay a great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:49 p.m. It's still 70 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire, but if you're in Chicago, Illinois, it's 34 degrees, partly cloudy, and it was raining a little bit earlier, so we'll see what's going on with that. But you know what? What would you say if I said we're going to beat the IRS at their own game? How would you feel? Oh, yeah. Okay, enough of that. All right. I feel the same way about it. Let's continue these loopholes. The first one, the next one in here, and we're talking about a beneficiary loopholes. This is provide for your surviving spouse with a qualified terminable interest property, which is a Q-tip trust. Now, here's the thing. The assets in a Q-tip trust qualify as a meritable bequest. Now, this means that no estate tax is payable until the death of the surviving spouse, and delaying taxes means more money in the Q-tip to generate cash flow to the surviving spouse. Now, surviving spouses, the income beneficiaries, have the right to all the trust income and can request that the trust invest to have more income if they feel that the trust is underperforming the market. It's up to the trustee to determine if the request is valid. Now, surviving spouses also have the right to request a distribution of principal if the trust income is insufficient for their needs. This is also subject to the approval of the trustee, but boy, look at the flexibility that gives you. This is phenomenal. And any time that you give something to a spouse, which is what's happening here, there is no tax. That's fantastic. How about this? Here's a loophole for you. Make life easier for your beneficiaries by setting up a revocable trust. That's a living trust. You've heard us talk about those things before, and they are, what? If you own a home, you need one of these trusts. If you have any assets, you need one of these trusts. This takes you out of probate. You do not want to be in probate in any state. I can guarantee you that. Here's a loophole. These trusts avoid or eliminate much of the probate process so that the assets or the income can be distributed sooner to the beneficiaries upon the death of the grantor. Living trusts, which can be revoked by the person who sets them up, the grantor, provide no income or estate tax advantages. All income is attributed to the grantor, who is usually the sole beneficiary. But the strategy here? Use a living trust to fund a prenuptial agreement. How this works? The trust supplies cash flow to the surviving spouse, and later, trust assets are distributed to children from the prior marriage. So give that some thought. How about this? Breaks for beneficiaries. Here's a loophole. Beneficiaries can deduct estate tax paid on income in respect of a decedent. They call it IRD. Now, IRD is income from an asset taxed on a federal estate tax return, including IRA accounts, accrued U.S. savings bond interest, and the decedent's right to unpaid commissions earned before death. The federal estate tax applicable to the IRD when the beneficiary receives the payment is deductible as an itemized deduction on the beneficiary's tax return. So take note of this. IRD is subject to both estate tax if the estate is taxable and income tax. The income tax deduction mentioned above before mitigates some of the double taxation. However, the deduction applies only to federal estate tax, not to state estate or inheritance taxes. So keep that in mind. Let's give you one more here. Beneficiaries who sell inherited property at a loss can deduct the loss on their tax returns. Now, this is a benefit. This is something you could be looking at. Here's an example. Your parents leave you a house with an original purchase price of, let's just say, $50,000 that is worth $300,000 when both parents have died. You inherit the house free of estate tax and receive a stepped-up basis. That's the tax cost of $300,000. The house is sold for $270,000 after broker's commissions and selling costs. You can deduct $30,000, subject to the annual loss deduction limit on these things, and that's that's as long as you didn't use it as your personal residence and immediately offered it for sale or rental. Now, take note: capital losses are deductible dollar for dollar against capital gains and can offset up to $3,000 of ordinary income each year. The excess losses are carried forward to subsequent tax years. So, kind of keep that in mind when you're moving along these areas. You'll be glad that you did that kind of stuff. Now, I've taken note. My good buddy Dr. Wireless is on the line. He's a little bit early, and I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm going to take a commercial break a little bit early so we can get to Joel Saltzman, our own mental guru on wireless technology and wireless news. He's always got good stuff, and you know what? I've been talking for an hour. I'm beginning to lose my voice. So I'm going to take a commercial break. We're going to come back to Dr. Wireless. Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:57 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 70 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 43 degrees. But you know what? If you're one of our loyal listeners in Paris, France, first of all, you gotta get a life, folks. It's 1 o'clock in the morning there, but it's also 50 degrees and mostly cloudy. But you know what's not cloudy? The information you're about to receive from our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Hey, Joel, welcome aboard. Joel, you there?
How are you, Robert? Had the mute button on, and I couldn't find it. Sorry about that.
Not a problem. I you know what? My heart just skipped a beat because I figured, oh, man, don't tell me we got another technical problem coming over here. But it hasn't happened. So, you know, that's a good thing. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing very good. I'm a defective user here. I'm going with the voice over IP phone today. I usually use the cell phone, so I'm curious as far as sound quality, if I sound any better or worse or the same.
What? No, you sound good. A little bit muffled, but you sound good and clear. So there's no problem at all. And you sound strong. So go for it.
Excellent. Well, this is typical. We got lots of stuff going on this week. Crazy, crazy business. I don't know if you've heard about, what's going on, but I'll start with, excuse me, got a frog in my throat. We have our friend Tom Wheeler with the FCC making waves again.
Oh, really?
Good waves.
Oh, good waves. Okay. Well, you know what? Here, I keep forgetting, your hobby is surfing, so any wave is a good wave for you.
Well, most of the time, unless I'm getting thumped, I agree with you. But this is good. What's happening here is the consumer advocates say that the average consumer is paying $7.43 per month per box for those on the TV, those set-top boxes to get the cable TV.
Oh, yeah.
And they're saying that Americans could be overpaying as much as $14 billion a year for these boxes because, technology has been falling in, cost, but not with these cable TV boxes.
Oh.
So as you can see what's happening, there is competition. Google has a device, Apple has a device, and Google's Android TV, TiVo, and Tom wants there to be competition. So this is good for consumers. They're trying to, cut the pricing of these cable boxes so it won't be quite as egregious as it is right now.
Yeah, that sounds like a good deal. And the truth is, you know what? It's interesting. You make yourself susceptible to these issues. You don't even realize it's happening to you until somebody like Tom Wheeler comes around and says, "Hey, wait a minute, folks. We've had an awful lot of advancements in technology. These things don't cost anywhere near that anymore, and there's a drop dead date when they're long paid for." You know what? That makes common sense that none of us ever think about.
Yeah, well, the FCC is proposing changes, to these cable boxes. They want to save you money, and they want to bring new features. So obviously, the cable companies don't like that, but it's good for consumers.
Well, you know what? I'm all for anything that's good for the consumer.
All right. Well, how about this one? It has nothing to do with consumers, but you're going to love this. This is CIA stuff.
Oh, good. I love that.
Recently unclassified. And this would make Mulder and Scully jealous, but you're going to like this. This was just unclassified, and it talks about 1960s era. It's an instructional guide from the 1960s, and it's a guide on how to take UFO photos.
Oh, come on.
I swear to you, if you ever wanted to capture a good UFO shot, this is a 10-point instructional on what to do.
First of all,
you have to set your camera at infinity. You have to use fast film, such as Tri-X, which is very good. For moving object shutter speeds, not slower than 1/100th of a second. I mean, this is intricate stuff.
And so I'm guessing my iPhone isn't going to cut it unless I'm in New Mexico, huh?
Well, I don't know. It may just cut it. I mean, this is from 1960s, so I'm sure your iPhone will do everything that they want you to do and then some. But I'm going to post this on our website. Everything that we're covering today will be on Facebook/DR Wireless. Some of it's under our blog, drwireless.com/blog. But this is a 10-point instructional on how to get great UFO pictures.
Well, it's interesting.
So tell Jethro and Billy Bob and all those guys.
Well, it's interesting that, in 1960, the federal government was disavowing any UFO activity, and they actually have this manual out there, huh?
Well, hey, look, the federal government, they disavowed that cannabis had any medicinal benefits, yet they got the patent in 2003, for it. So something's fishy. You can't always believe our government. What can you say?
Oh, boy, you can say that again. But, holy cow. There's so many things that go on that you just have to, you just assume at the first hearing that they're lying to you, and you're probably going to be right.
You probably are. Even Apple makes mistakes. Apple just admitted finally that they do have a Safari problem, which is causing iPhones to crash like crazy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a web link called crashsafari.com, which literally causes Apple web browsers on iPhones to crash. And, it's a string of information, and they hide the string so you can't see it. But it's just, these guys are always looking for problems, and, Apple will work it out. But they did admit that if the string, it gets texted to you, your phone is going to crash.
Well, it's interesting, too. Apple has really been in the news lately, especially in the investment news. I'm sure you're following it because you're up on all these things. But they're looking for a downgrade on expected revenues coming up because the sales just aren't there for the new products they have. And, you and I were talking last Wednesday about the fact that every time Apple comes up with a new phone or a new product, it's all new auxiliary equipment that comes with it, too, with new plugins because the old stuff doesn't work, and they do that to shore up their gross revenues, and it looks like their gross revenues are sinking. So when you said that the new phones are going to get these new plugins, you're right. They're going to do it because they need to do it for revenue.
Well, you know what the big problem is here? The big problem is Apple used to rely on the contract plans to drive their upgrades. Meaning if you had a built-in $25 a month in your plan to cover this equipment, which the carriers really never explained until recently, you had to do an upgrade month 24. You were overpaying for your plan. So Apple knew that every 2 years they were going to sell you a phone, but they weren't content with that. They wanted to sell you a new phone every year. Yeah. So they would come out in May. They always come out with either a phone in May or in September. They usually come out with a new model, then they come out with the S model. So they're coming out with at least one new phone per year. The carriers don't like that because everybody, that's under contract wants the new phone, so the carrier has to give another $450 subsidy to get them the new phone. So this is what's going on. So Apple's coming out with so many new phones, and the consumer is realizing that if they have my wife has a 5S, she's thrilled with it. I had a 4S. As long as you got Siri and all the latest features, if you don't need a big screen, there's no sense in dropping $650, $750, $850, $950 for a new phone.
Joel, I've got a 5S. I love this thing. It's got all the bells and whistles. It's got bells and whistles I don't use. You know what I mean?
Yep, I get customers every day that call me and they have 4s and 4S's and want to upgrade. And the reality is these phones will work for a long time. So unless you need the functionality on these new models, unless you want to record in 4K, there are some valid features on the new phones, but the majority of people don't need them and would probably be best served not to, get a new phone every year.
Well, my wife's got the 4S. I hate to even admit this. She gets her phones by attrition. When I buy a new phone, she gets my old phone. Well, she's got the 4S.
Well, that's how my wife gets them. So
she's got the 4S.
It's called quality control, Robert.
Yeah. But you know what she uses? She uses it for telephone calls and she uses it for texting. Nothing else. And pictures.
And it's more than adequate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, hey, how would you like to be Uber these days? Did you hear what's going on? Lyft just dodged a major bullet that's still coming for Uber. Did you hear about this? Lyft won't have to reclassify its drivers as employees, but Uber still might.
Why the discrimination between the two?
Well, Lyft recently reached a settlement yesterday for $12.25 million in extra compensation and benefits for their drivers. They were facing a similar suit as Uber, but there's a quirk in the litigation that could make the outcome way worse for Uber. And apparently, Lyft's drivers were unable to bring a class action lawsuit against Lyft because they signed an arbitration clause that was contained in the contract with Lyft.
Oh.
And so the drivers had to settle for promises from Lyft to reimburse some of their expenses and to warn them before they're about to be deactivated for poor customer ratings. So, but the difference in Uber is they're a lot bigger, and the court has certified the case against them as a class action on behalf of almost all Uber drivers in California. And the court was able to do that because it held that Uber's arbitration agreement to be unenforceable.
Really?
So for some reason, Uber's was unenforceable, Lyft's wasn't. Lyft was smart. They settled. In the Lyft case, they didn't have the same arguments. They couldn't make the same arguments. So to make a long story short, Uber's contract with its drivers would have prevented a class action lawsuit, but it was ruled unenforceable.
Well,
So
the interesting thing is that, I mean, this is something I'm guessing that the drivers brought against Uber, and some attorney didn't bring the drivers in to get them against Uber. But you know what? I was talking to my granddaughter who goes to NYU, and she uses Uber all the time. I mean, she's in New York City. She doesn't have a car there, and she uses Uber and feels safe. She loves Uber.
I use Lyft. I've used both, and I love Lyft. Lyft is a little different than Uber. It's a little more personalized. I was reading where, their management is asking the Lyft people to let, fares ride in the front seat and to greet them by name and give them a fist bump, when before they get into the car. And it's personalized. I'll tell you something. Having used taxi service and Uber and Lyft, the one advantage you have with Lyft and Uber is it works with your smartphone. It's an app, and as soon as you put in where you are in your request, you'll have a driver within 4 minutes almost every time. I don't ever remember waiting less than, with cabs, it's always 20 minutes or more if they show up at all.
Yeah.
So, with Uber and Lyft, there are drivers all over the place. It's instantaneous. I've read about some bad experiences, but I've had nothing but great experiences. So I recommend both of them very highly, and especially for folks that, if you want to go to your local watering hole a couple miles away and tie one on.
Yeah.
Not that I would do that, but, it certainly beats driving, and if it's $5.
I'll tell you what, that makes a lot of sense if you think about it. I've met friends for cocktails or a nice 2 martini lunch. Well, by the time you're done with that, it's inevitable. There's always a police officer outside in the parking lot waiting for you to drive out. And you're not going to pass that blowing up that balloon or whatever the heck they use. You're not going to pass that.
And it's a life-changing event if you get pulled over. And blow that balloon, and it doesn't work out right.
I had a really good friend. He's deceased now, so I can talk about him. But he did have a drinking problem, and it was a serious one. And boy, he got nailed on a DUI. He lost his job. He lost his license for a while. He lost all kinds of stuff. Well, you do not want to get caught in a situation like that. Anybody that, if you know you're going to go out drinking or partying, and even though you don't intend to get sloshed, you know what? I think you're a lot better off if you're not going to, for me, I used to hire a limo. Now, use Uber. Just pick them up.
Uber and Lyft are a fraction of the price, and they work well.
Yeah. So what's the major difference between Uber and Lyft is just the way they treat you?
Yes, and Lyft is a fraction of the size of Uber. Uber is the big, dominant one. Lyft is much smaller. I have spoken to friends of mine who work for both. Interestingly, there are people who work for both simultaneously.
So it's whoever they
and
get.
I'm told that Lyft is the better of the two as far as on an employer-employee standpoint. And I just, I've used both, and I think I've used Uber once and Lyft like 3 times. And I just think they're wonderful.
So does
speaking of Lyft and Ubers
Lyft does not have an app and Uber does? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, they both have apps, and Lyft actually, it can go to LAX.
Oh, really?
Lyft has got clearance now to go to LAX and pick up fares. The problem is I think they charge an extra $4, and I think you got to go to the third level, the top level. The third or the second, but it's the top level, not the regular transportation. It's the arrival level to get a Lyft. Yeah. And I think Uber's trying to get in as well, and I'm sure they will. But anyhow, let's segue into what cheap gas is doing for these electric car manufacturers right now. I'm thinking Tesla and Nissan and Ford and Volkswagen have all been going aggressive, into their EV cars.
Right.
And at the same time, we have, Iran opened up, and pumping gas, and Saudi Arabia pumping gas, and gas is dropping, not so much in California, but the rest of the country is at an all-time low.
No, but I got to tell you, I paid $2.65 a gallon yesterday for gas, and that's a whole lot better than the $5 a year ago, $5 a gallon a year ago I was paying.
Yeah, I have an ARCO I go to. It's like $2.45 or $2.49. It's always a little bit, usually Costco price or a few cents less.
Yeah.
So, but gas has come down dramatically, and I have a feeling what's happening here is, these electric cars traditionally cost a little more. And if gas prices go down, it's making these non-electric cars more attractive again.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it's it's all marketing. The electric cars are the future. That's what's going to happen. They're going to be electric cars. They're going to be self-driving electric cars. We're moving into the future. There's no way to stop it. You can delay it. You can put little bumps in the road, but that's where it's going to be. And gas is going to be something that I don't think we'll ever see gas like when I was a young kid at 28 cents a gallon or whatever it was. But $24.9
was the lowest I ever bought it for.
Yeah, but you're going to see it. I bet we'll see it go below $2 a gallon.
No, it already has outside of California.
Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, it's interesting. I've got a good buddy I went to school with. He lives in New Mexico, and he says he hasn't gotten gas for a long time, but he had to stop and get some gas. It was $1.68 a gallon.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It's reasonable in Florida, too. Once you get out of California, we've got the most ridiculous taxes, and we have this special springtime formula, which is another 30 cents, and I don't know, in this global warming stuff, I guess we're the only state that seems to be concerned about it, because the other 49 states have gas at a reasonable price.
Yeah. Well, they just
makes you wonder.
Did you see where our esteemed governor now has a bill before the legislature? They're gonna get rid of the gas tax, and they're gonna charge us a tax per mile of driving on the highway.
Well, that's interesting.
And I don't know how they're going to do that. They're going to have to put something in every car, I suppose, and you're going to pay that tax. You're going to pay it as an estimate every year on your income tax.
Wow. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it does. But you know what? That sucks. But I'm going to tell your listeners how to get a better deal from their current wireless providers.
Can you do that in 2 minutes, or you want to come back and do it?
Well, I am not going to tell them. I'm going to tell them that they need to go to Facebook/DR Wireless to get this info, or www.drwireless.com/blog. So I'm not going to reveal this over the air. I'm going to make them, and while they're at the Facebook page, if they can throw me a like, that would be very magnanimous as well. We have all kinds of great info, but this is one of the easiest ways to get a better deal from your current carrier. I'm divulging this. The carriers are probably not happy because this spells it out so simply. It tells you how to play dumb and get the better deal every time.
Okay, give out the website.
Needless to say, Joel at drwireless.com if anybody has any questions. Again, this is at DR Wireless. I should say Facebook/DR Wireless or www.drwireless.com/blog.
Keep talking. I'm writing.
All right, well, you should go there because this will even work with your beloved AT&T.
Okay. Listen, we're talking to our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. We're going to be right back with words of wisdom from Joel right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his this show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. You know what? It's surfing weather in Torrance, California. It's 66 degrees and mostly cloudy. I can't hardly believe that Joel is talking to me and not out there on the waves. Hey, Joel, you got the microphone.
Funny you should mention that, Robert, because one of my buddies, 5 minutes before the show came on, sent me an email saying the conditions are great, there's no wind, it's glassy, let's go surfing.
Well, you know what? I appreciate your loyalty to me and into the show. And right after you're off the air, I expect you to just go running out there and do your thing.
I may just do that.
All right. So I just want to give that website one more time for folks that want to find out how to get the best deal on their wireless system, even if they're dealing with the same outfit that I am. And that is they just go to Facebook.com/drwireless.com. You know, all the information.
Yeah, Facebook / D as in David, R as in Rabbit, Wireless. Just Facebook / DR Wireless.
Oh, slash.
Alternatively, and that will all be up by the end of the show. If it isn't there yet, it's all going up right now. And alternatively, that information is also on our blog, which is drwireless.com/blog.
So when you say slash, you mean /, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So
alligators, crocodiles.
You know what? I'm old. I now just automatically go for clarification.
There you go.
Yeah, /.
Well, I have some other good news, Robert, before I forget. We're talking about these problems with Safari crashing.
Yeah.
Well, Chrome for iPhones is now much faster and crashes less. They just did some really great stuff today with Chrome, and what they did is they changed the mobile browser for the iPhone and iPad, and are using the same rendering engine that Apple uses for their Safari browser. So this is going to speed things up dramatically, and it's not going to look any different than Chrome, but it's going to be way quicker and work much better. And Google's browser now crashes 70% less than previous.
Well, I use Google on my desktop. I love it.
I use it on everything. And the problem is with Safari, half the time I'd open something and I'd get, a error message that I have to upgrade my Flash, or I have to upgrade this, I have to upgrade that. And I never get that with Google.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I prefer Google. And now Google, I haven't tried it yet today. Well, I guess I have been using it all day today. I haven't really noticed anything different, but it's supposedly much faster.
Yeah, I like Google.
So it's good stuff. Speaking of fast and Google, it sounds like Flash is expected to be dead in 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, Flash is going away.
Wow.
There's two formats, WebM and H.265, that are going to be the next generation of online video. And I guess this H.264 is the leading video codec right now, making up 72% of online videos. But it isn't new. It's been around for 13 years, and apparently this new format they're thinking could be the way to go.
Well, I was using Twitter's Periscope for a while. I was going to experiment with doing a live video of the show while I was broadcasting, but I was having problems with it. It wasn't the quality wasn't there the way I was hoping it would be. And I think when you start looking at the videos now, there's such a progression going on. I don't know what your crystal ball says, but things are getting to be so much better now with the technology, the speeds, and the quality that's going on, that gosh, in another 6 months, God knows, only knows what we're gonna have.
Well, I don't know how it can get much better, because all of the new devices are now offering recording speeds of 4K.
Yeah.
So that means brilliant, quality on the videos, and means using more data when you're transmitting those videos to your family back east or wherever they are.
And you need a fast
pictures.
And you need a fast broadband if you're going to utilize that with anything else, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, if you think you're going to get it done with really slow broadband, it probably won't happen.
Yeah.
What else do we have? The Galaxy S7 is coming, and they're talking about launching a phone upgrade rental program similar to Apple's, directly by Samsung. So that seems to be the new trend. The manufacturers now want you to buy the devices directly from them, and will, rent or lease these devices.
Well, I got to tell you, I have these dreams about you, Joel. Now, don't take this in the wrong way, but I have these dreams about you. I remember the old days when I was a little kid and I was watching, Hopalong Cassidy and Wild Bill Hickok and the Cisco Kid, and all these guys had these dual guns, right, one on each hip, and all that was going on. And I envision you with this leather strap around your waist with all these pockets all the way around it, and you have a different cell phone and a different wireless system on every one of them, and you having to be confused about which one you're going to use and answer.
Not anymore. I actually used to have that problem. In the old days, I used to do all the reviews for Dr. Wireless. And, not Apple, but BlackBerry and Palm would send me new devices, and I would do these reviews, and like a dummy, I would, change my personal mobile number, my business number, over to the new device. So I'd have a few-day learning curve trying to figure out how to use the device as my normal communications device, and it was sink or swim.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't like it because, sometimes, I really liked the Apple Siri, and maybe, the voice on the other device I was testing didn't work as well. So it just got frustrating to me, and I really couldn't do, and then devices got more intricate.
Yeah, but not only that, you needed
put them to the test.
Yeah, but not only that, for business, you needed stability. You needed to have something that you could count on for your customers to get to you regardless.
Exactly, and what I found is I had some clients that were extremely tech savvy. I've got lots of Caltech clients that are, IT administrators, and they love this stuff. So I out-tasked a lot of my evaluations to them. I'd ask them to write a review for me on their new devices, and then I have some folks at Engadget and CNET that are very competent in doing reviews, and they feel the same way I do about devices. So I can pretty much read one of their reviews, and it would mirror whatever I would have to say. I trust them.
Yeah.
So I don't have to do these reviews anymore. I'm happy not to do it. If somebody wants to send me a nice device that I like, maybe I'll test it. But these days, I'm not so much into it.
Well, I'm guessing that if Apple were to send you one of their gold iPhones, you'd probably use that, right?
If it was a 7, and it didn't have that lightning connection for the hands-free, I might. I know that they're going to do that, and I know they're going to say that they're doing it because they need to make the phone thinner, and they can't do it with the conventional 3.5 jack, which I have a hard time believing. So we'll have to see.
Yeah. It's so much going on. It makes you wonder what the end looks like. As I get older, I start to regret, I don't regret my age, but I start to regret the fact that I'm going to miss some really boom technology that's going to take place 20, 30 years from now, that's going to just be exciting. If you think about what we have today, I mean, gosh, can you imagine what this did to the Superman series when they got rid of phone booths?
Absolutely. Well, I'm still looking back at, technology is beautiful, but there was something to be said about the lack of technology too.
Yeah. Well, do you remember
I'm sure you do. Do you remember going to the old drive-in movies where you pull in with your 4 buddies in the trunk,
it was $1.25.
It was that big box under your window.
Yep. The Lincoln Drive-In movie in Cypress, California, was $1.25 a carload. Now, I had an old 50 Mercury that I used to drive way back then, and I could put as many as 15 people in that car.
I could do the same with my Plymouth Fury 3 Bonneville. I could put 6 people in the trunk, and we'd pull in, and I never realized it, but it looked like, there was 10 refrigerators in the trunk. The back of the car would be down, and the front would be up, and we'd drive in and just be me in the car.
Oh, yeah, and do you remember?
And I got 5 buddies in the trunk.
Oh, yeah, do you remember at the driveway and the drive-ins, and they had these, they were like peaks and valleys, right? Because you drive up on it, so your car would kind of edge up to look at the screen. And if you had your car loaded like that, you'd bottom out on these little humps that were in there.
Exactly. And then you'd leave and forget to take that speaker thing off and pull it off.
Oh, yeah.
It was crazy. But, those are good times. Obviously, the sound quality was terrible.
Yeah.
And the picture quality wasn't so good, but it was, you remember that stuff fondly.
Oh yeah. And the very first time that I saw Frankenstein, it was at a drive-in movie, and it was raining and thunder outside. And you talk about, but you're right. The picture was horrible, the sound was horrible, and I was scared to death.
Yeah, I forgot all about that. I grew up in Florida, and I just realized, that's true. When it wasn't a good idea to go in the rain. If you were planning on going to the movies, drive-ins weren't a great thing if it was thundering and raining and lightning.
Yeah, those were great times. I also remember the wonderful nights where just sit up on the hood of the car with your back against the windshield, and you could still hear the speakers. Those were the good old days.
They sure were. Now, nothing to do with wireless, but what do you think of this situation with Trump boycotting the debate tomorrow?
I think this guy is a genius.
He's got chutzpah. I got to give him credit. He is definitely not conventional, and I kind of like the way that he's pulling strings and letting people know that he's not playing their game. And I think what they did was wrong. What they said was wrong for sure.
Absolutely. And the thing is he's going to win this on all counts. You know what? That was a dumb thing for Fox to do. And then to try and tell Donald Trump or to embarrass him in any way is a mistake. And the fact that he controls the ratings, that was dumb. And now
that's the amazing thing. They know he controls the ratings.
Yeah.
And they still called him out, and maybe they didn't think that he had the cojones to pull this off. But it doesn't surprise me whatsoever. He does not like Megyn Kelly to start with.
Yeah.
And he realizes this is all about ratings. And he realizes that if he is not there, half these people are not going to watch, and I'm one of them. I have no desire to watch this without him. I love watching this because when Cruz or Rubio's speaking, I love watching this dude's facial expressions.
Yeah, who are they going to castigate if he's not there? And here's the thing. He's talking about doing a really large benefit for the veterans, and it seems to me, boy, I'll tell you what, I really do believe that instead of 22 million people watching the debate, 2 million are going to watch it, and 20 million are going to watch Trump. He's not only going to take away the storm from Fox News, he's going to create his own impetus. Where this guy is going to be.
He is sly like a fox.
Yeah.
And I've looked at this a number of ways, and here's what I figure. There's no reason. He has nothing to prove. There's no reason for him to go.
Yeah.
I mean, each debate he's been doing better and better, but he's better off not going. Because if he doesn't go, he doesn't have to worry about saying something stupid. And the beauty of this is they're going to all be talking about him anyway.
Absolutely. He gets all the press. And here's the thing. He said something today that made a lot of sense. He's sitting at the 40% level in the polls. Why does he want to share a stage with somebody that's got negative polls or is sitting at 1% or 2%? That's a waste of his time. That's crazy.
He's got everything to lose and nothing to gain by showing up at that debate. Yeah. And I think this is a brilliant move because he's showing them he's got the ratings, he's got the power, and you're not going to toy with me like you might toy with the rest of these candidates because I've got the power.
Well, it's like he wrote the book, The Art of the Deal, right? And here's when it was the last debate, he got it changed from 3 hours to 2 hours. They didn't like it. They didn't want to do it, but they had to do it or the debaters weren't going to show up. Now look what he's doing. He's not going to let, they are the stars. These debaters are the stars. The networks aren't the stars. They need it for ratings. They need it for money. And these guys are.
And he knows that. He knows how this works because he's got TV shows. Yep. He knows it's all about ratings. He called out this Roger Ailes guy by name.
Yeah.
Nobody else would ever dare do that.
He won't even take Ailes.
He's not afraid of anybody.
Yeah, he won't even take his phone call. He says, "Hey, look, I'm a chief executive of a large company. If they want to talk to me, you have Rupert Murdoch talk to me. I'll talk to him, but I'm not talking to anybody else."
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyhow, it makes for some interesting politics.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Hey, listen, we got 30 seconds before we have to say sayonara till next week. So why don't you just give out that contact information and talk about anything you want for 30 seconds?
All right. Well, for everything I covered and for everything I didn't cover that I wanted to cover, it will all be up on our Facebook page. Again, Facebook.com/DR Wireless. If you want to pay less than you're paying now with your current carrier, I've got the magic words that will open up their wallets and save you the money. So go there. Also, www.drwireless.com/blog. We have all the latest news and ways to save money with wireless as well.
You know what? Yeah. Fantastic. This has been... we've talked about so many things. This was a fantastic show. I know that you most likely wanted to talk about a lot of other things, and I took you off subject. But boy, I want to tell you that I just really thoroughly enjoyed today's show.
Well, that's what next week's for, Robert, so have no worries.
All right. So listen, my friend, stay safe, stay happy, make everybody that's in your life better for it. That's what you do every day anyway, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, and have a great week.
All right. And for the rest of you folks out there that are listening, don't go away. We'll be back for the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teachings for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and, of course, interesting but useless facts. I'll be right back, folks. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Well, we're coming on down to the wire. I'm anxious. I think this section of the show, this part of the show, I guess we could refer to it as a block. I like it a lot. It's really interesting. And so I might as well just stop talking about it and start doing it. Let's talk about that Harvard business tip of the day. And the management tip today is give feedback to someone who doesn't want it. Yeah. It's important to give feedback to team members, but what should you do when an employee gets defensive? Leaders in these situations may want to take a break from giving performance-related feedback and try giving feedback based more closely on how the employee receives it. Here's how to get started. First of all, get curious. You can't assume that the feedback receiver sees her behavior or his in the same way that you do. Acknowledge that you're expressing an opinion and ask to hear the other person's too. You got to be curious about it. And use neutral language, for Pete's sake. Try to avoid words that carry negative connotations and place blame. Don't do that. It's going to get you nowhere. And ask for feedback yourself. Be brave enough to ask, how am I contributing to this problem? And then model how to receive the feedback. You teach that way. And then finally, secure a commitment. Make a specific request for a behavior change, be open to counteroffers, and come to an agreement on the goal. That is what you got to do. That's the only way that you can do it. Well, it's time for that secret daily teaching for your life, the lifestyle teaching. And, this is all about a positive mental attitude. It's about knowing that you control your own destiny, your own life on a day-to-day basis moving forward. The secret for today is the good news is that the moment you decide that what you know is more important than what you have been taught to believe, you'll have shifted gears in your quest for abundance. Success comes from within, not from without. You know who said that? He's Ralph Waldo Emerson. Born in 1803, died in 1882. Give that some thought. Wise men, wise thoughts. Well, you know what today is. Sure you do. It is Wednesday, January the 27th, and it is somebody's birthday. Okay, here we go for the birthdays of the day. This gentleman was born in 1948, a ballet dancer, often cited alongside Nijinsky and Nureyev as one of the greatest of the 20th century. Happy birthday, Mikhail Baryshnikov. And here's a gentleman that was born in 1959, news anchor, sportscaster, writer, and political commentator. He hosts Countdown, an hour-long nightly news program on MSNBC. Happy birthday, Keith Olbermann. And then finally, born in 1969, stand-up comedian, writer, and actor. Happy birthday, Patton Oswalt. Yeah. Well, what happened today in history on January the 27th, 1785? The University of Georgia was founded, the first public university in the United States. Yeah. And in 1888, the National Geographic Society is founded in Washington, D.C. And then finally, or not finally, I shouldn't say that, in 1951, nuclear testing at the Nevada test site begins with a 1-kiloton bomb. Boy, that's a nothing bomb nowadays. It was dropped on Frenchman Flats. I had a good buddy that was in Las Vegas when that bomb was tested, and he thought it was an earthquake. He didn't know what was going on. How about this? In 1967, the Doors' self-tilted debut album was released. Yeah. I don't know why that's so important, but it is. But I'll tell you what is important. The quote for today. The quote for today comes from Albert Einstein. They say that he only used 8% of his brain power. And there's a scary thought. But his quote today is, how on earth are you ever going to explain in terms of chemistry and physics so important to biological phenomenon as first love? Yeah. From the heart, mind, and soul of Albert Einstein. Man, I mean, that's something. Well, you know what? It is time for our interesting but useless facts. We've got some good ones. I enjoy these as well. We'll take this out for a couple, 2-3 minutes. Did you know a skunk's smell can be detected by a human a mile away? Yeah. And it's not a good thing either, by the way. How about this? Did you know the English word soup comes from the Middle Ages word sop, which means a slice of bread over which roast drippings were poured? Now, the first archaeological evidence of soup being consumed dates back to 6000 BC, with the main ingredient being hippopotamus bones. Give that some thought. Yeah. How about this? Did you know that Zanzibar is the only place where you will find the Kirk's red colobus monkey? Did you care? I don't think so. Anyway, how about this? Did you know that each king in a deck of playing cards represents great king from history? Spades is King David, clubs, Alexander the Great, hearts, Charlemagne, and diamonds, Julius Caesar. Yeah. Give that one some thought. If you get a chance to do that, everything has a meaning, and I think it's interesting for us to know that. Did you know that bamboo can grow up to 36 inches in a day? Yeah, unbelievable. How about this? During his lifetime, Paganini published only 5 compositions. He didn't expect anybody to be able to play them, and at that time, nobody could. So it takes you have to be a very talented musician to play Paganini. How about this? Will Clark of the Texas Rangers is a direct descendant of William Clark of Lewis and Clark, the expedition guys. Yeah. How about this? Did you know that xylophones, Greek xylon, wood, phone, sound, were actually developed in Southeast Asia in the 14th century? Do you care? I don't. How about this? You know that a trout swims at about 4 miles per hour, which is faster than you or me? Yeah, I don't doubt that at all. I don't think I swim anywhere close to that, as a matter of fact. So let me leave you with this. There are 8 different sizes of champagne bottle, and the largest is called a Nebuchadnezzar, after the biblical king who put Daniel's 3 friends into the oven. Give that some thought. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, I'm going to answer your emails. The first one comes from Kalina Ricks from Chandler, Arizona. She's asking about startup losses, and I'll tell you all about those right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400 4900, or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Well, we are down to the wire now. It's time for me to answer your emails. And I always caution you that this is an entertainment part of the show and that we always encourage you to seek the advice of a licensed professional before you do anything. You know, they're always going to save you more money than they cost you, and they're required to have errors and omissions insurance is one of the conditions of their licensing, which is the same thing as malpractice insurance. And that does mean that if they make a mistake, they pay the piper, not you. And that's peace of mind, folks. That means that you can sleep at night. You don't have to worry about the doorbell ringing or registered letters or somebody tapping you on the shoulder or those phone calls. They can sleep because somebody else is going to have to pay it because they made the mistake. That kind of makes it worthwhile to use a professional, don't you think? Sure it does. Well, my first email today comes from Kalina Ricks from Chandler, Arizona, asking about startup losses, and says, I did freelance work for a startup business that used the cash method of accounting. When it failed without paying me, can I deduct my loss? Well, Kalina, the answer to your question, unfortunately, is no. Even if there is a contract providing for payment, if the business didn't pay you anything, you simply don't report any income from it. You don't get any deduction for a financial loss because you don't have any financial loss. You may consider yourself to have lost the value of the time and effort you put into your work, but the value of time and effort is not deductible, not recognized by the IRS. So sorry about that. Anyway, next email comes from Andrew Rodriguez, and Andrew writes me from Milford, Connecticut, asking about a mortgage deduction. Says, last year, I started building a new home to move into. When home prices started falling, I stopped construction to wait to see what happens in the market. Now, I'm still living in my old home. Can I claim a mortgage interest deduction for the interest on the home or the loan that I used to start building the new one? You know, that's a great question, Andrew. I don't understand quite why the value was going down because everybody else is going up. But the answer to your question is when you start building a new home, you can deduct interest paid on related financing as mortgage interest for a period of up to 24 months, provided the home becomes your main or second home at the time that it's ready for occupancy. Now, you are still within that 24-month window, so the interest that you're incurring will qualify as mortgage interest. You can deduct mortgage interest on two homes. Remember that. So for more details about the rules here, go to IRS publication 936. That's home mortgage interest deductions, and you'll get all of your answers right there. Now, let's see. Next email comes from Angelina Salcedo from Hillsboro, Oregon, and she's asking about minimum distributions and writes, I'm retired with savings in a 401k account, 3 IRAs, and a simplified employee pension plan. That's called a SEP, by the way, an SEP. Starting at age 70 and a half, annual required minimum distribution rules apply to all of them. Can I take my total required annual distribution from any one of them, or must I take an annual distribution from each individually? You know, good question, Angelina. And here's the thing. The annual required minimum distribution is computed separately for the 401k, but for the IRAs and the SEP, it is computed on a combined basis. So you will receive an annual distribution from the 401k in accordance with its plan terms, and you'll determine your required annual distribution from the IRAs and the SEP on the basis of their combined balance, and can either take the entire amount from any one of them or divide it among them any way that you wish. So hopefully that's answered your question and it helps you. And my last email today comes from Blake Thompson from Marietta, Georgia, asking about hobby expenses and writes, I'm developing photography as a serious hobby and have received offers to buy my pictures. If I use the money I receive from sales to buy photography equipment and for other expenses of taking pictures, can I claim a tax deduction for these costs? And that's a great question, Blake. And here's the answer. Hobby expenses are deductible in an amount up to the income received from the hobby, and so can shelter that income from tax. But there may be some limitations here. Hobby expenses are claimed as an itemized deduction on Schedule A of the tax return among your miscellaneous expenses, the total of which is deductible only to the extent that it exceeds 2% of your adjusted gross income, or AGI. So you'd have to be itemizing to do that, and only about 26% of the nation actually itemizes their taxes. So if you don't file a return that itemizes deductions, you'll get no deduction. And if you do, your deduction may be limited by that 2% of AGI floor. By the way, there are many other rules that also may apply, so check with your tax advisor before you do any of those things. Now, I want to encourage you all to go out and get our new apps. Our apps are for the Apple Store or your Apple phone, iPhone, and it's also for Windows and Android. So if you've got an Apple phone, go to your Apple Store and just search Robert Cardoza Live. And if you've got an Android or a Windows phone, go to googleplay.com and search Robert Cardoza Live. In either case, the apps are absolutely free. They're there for your convenience. You can listen to our show live if we're broadcasting live. You can listen to our archives or at your own convenience. And if we're live, you can even chat with us during those calls. So that takes us right down to the wire. I want to thank you for that. That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our
first seem impossible,
then they seem improbable, and they
summon the will. They soon become inevitable. You know the real secret of happiness? To make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com
every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.